Welcome in, everybody. This is your Chiefs pregame show. This is Kingdom Kickoff, and I'm being joined here by Rich Baldinger, former Kansas City Chiefs offensive lineman from 1983 to 1992, former KCTV5 Chiefs pregame host. I'm Noah Gronniger, being joined here with Clint Switzer, who picked the Cleveland Browns last week. We're amongst a traitor here, but Clint, we have got a huge Sunday night football matchup here against the Baltimore Ravens. Are we looking for another Chiefs beatdown of Baltimore?
Well, that's been the trend so far. Of course, the Chiefs are 3-0 against the Baltimore Ravens under Patrick Mahomes. And the truth of the matter is the way that Baltimore played last week, where you see the Raiders choking the game away to them, only to have Lamar Jackson choke it right back. The Chiefs have had Lamar Jackson's number, and more than that. And Rich, I think this is where the analysis of this game really starts to come in for me. It's not necessarily about Lamar Jackson, although that's a huge key to stopping the Ravens, of course. But to me, it's the way that the Ravens defense tries to match up against the Kansas City Chiefs. We saw what happened when they try to slip into those nickel packages and to slip into those zone schemes. It does not work. You saw Darren Waller wide open in the middle of the field, getting chunk yardage. They tried this against the Chiefs last year, 0 blitzes and the like, and it does not work. This is where, to me, this game is won and lost. Can the Ravens defensively try to create some sort of a scheme to slow the Chiefs defense down, Rich?
Well, I'm just wondering if they can create like 5 more Marlon Humphreys and get them all out there in the field at the same time. That's about the only chance they have. Listen, Wink Martindale, the defensive coordinator, he understands this. You know, with Patrick Mahomes, you can bring all the blitzes you want. You can bring all the pressure, but he does not wilt under pressure. He's a guy that sees the field so well. So yes, my big question, I don't know what they can do tonight because listen, they have the injuries in the secondary. They don't have the front four that's bringing the pressure that they've had in the past. So I suspect tonight we might see some type of creative blitzes just because I don't know what else the Ravens have to offer right now, really, because if you think about it, in the past, they've had the guys that have been able to come off the edge. I don't see it this year. That's the difference maker going in for their defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And all offseason, people are worrying about, are the Chiefs going to be able to fix this offensive line? What are the Chiefs' weapons going to look like without Sammy Watkins? They went after Juju Smith-Schuster. He decides to stay in Pittsburgh. Clyde Edwards-Helaire gave you 14 carries, 43 yards. McCole had 19 yards. DeMarcus 9. Byron Pringle 6. And I think we're all worrying for nothing. As long as Tyreek Hill suits up, who had 197 yards, as long as Travis Kelce suits up, who had 76 yards, as long as Patrick Mahomes suits up and Andy Reid's calling the plays, the rest of it just doesn't matter. Is that right, Rich?
Well, I'd have to agree with you on that. And let's go to the other side of the ball quickly, too. I mean, we got to go in the trenches. They got Villanueva. Now, I don't know if Stanley's going to play tonight or Stanley's going to play at that tackle. He got banged up. Is Villanueva going to go from right tackle to left tackle? And he struggled against the Raiders. I mean, something mightily on Monday night. So they move him out to the left side. Hopefully this gives us a chance for one of the things we've got to do better this week, guys, and talk about the Chiefs, is the front four has got to find a way to get pressure on the quarterback. We weren't exceptional. One guy was. The rest of them didn't really show up. Let's see what we can do tonight, especially against the front five of Baltimore. That's kind of like what's happening on I-95. They're stuck in traffic all the time.
Rich, I completely realize that we're in the midst of a former Chiefs great offensive lineman, a guy that lived in the trenches, a guy that made his hay down there battling with all the uglies. But, Rich, here's the thing. When Noah and I were walking out of the stadium, Raymond James Stadium, after the Super Bowl, I told him, Noah, this is going to be an overreaction by the Chiefs front office, Brett Veach. And boy, was it ever. We saw what the Chiefs did, pumping every bit of resource into that offensive line. And here's the thing, Rich. In week 1, the Pro Football Focus grades come out. Niang, number 59. Orlando Brown, number 60. That's out of 62 tackles so far, and this is what we're going to have to deal with, Rich. I guess you're going to have to use the old cliche. This line just has to gel, doesn't it?
Well, I think, when you break down the film, there were some very good things by the guys up front. And I'm going to keep reiterating my point, folks. Let's be honest. How many practices do they have in pads before the first game? They don't even play the preseason game, but what, a half a quarter, maybe a series? So what are they in pads maybe 13, 14 times before a game? I just think they come out sluggish. I just think it takes a while for them to get in a rhythm. You saw that in the game. Now, are there some fundamentals they got to improve on? Yeah, they are. Is there some play calling we got to do? Yeah, less about maybe 25 in the backfield. He can do some things coming out of the backfield, but I think there's some ways we get better. But as the game went on, they got more comfortable. They did play a little better. And hey, Niang wasn't bad out there against Clowney. He overall, I would say he won that battle. You think of a rookie against a veteran, he held his own pretty much most night. There was a couple times the pocket got squeezed, but it's things that they can fix. It was maybe a little technique. It wasn't like they just whiffed. It's just their own technique. So that's what makes me feel comfortable about going forward with this team.
Yeah, and part of that Patrick Mahomes took a little blame for on that sack where he was a sandwich and meeting in the middle between Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney there late in the game. He says he dropped back a little too far in the pocket. But you mentioned Niang going up against a veteran. He's got another one in Justin Houston this week who's coming back to Kansas City. Sammy Watkins also coming back to Kansas City. So what do you see out of those two players coming back, having that fuel, that energy, wanting to beat their former team of the Kansas City Chiefs, especially that matchup of Houston versus Niang?
Well, I think they're going to move Justin Houston to either side. They're going to walk him around. I don't know if they're just going to line up in a straight four and come at us. I think right now, really, where they are with things defensively, I think you're going to see some creativity on their part. You might see two guys get in one gap at one time and try to get a pick going and things like that. But then listen, the thing about Justin Houston that he'll always have is the guy's amazingly strong. I mean, he's incredibly powerful. So we'll be challenged for both our tackles. But I think that the one thing I thought Andy could have done more is how about maybe a quick pitch or draw play in some of those third down situations, something where we've got too many good athletes. How about a jet sweep or something that forces the defense now to have to cover the whole field? I don't know if we had a limited playbook last week, but I think there's some other things we can do, a few wrinkles against Baltimore, which I think will prove to be very helpful.
Rich, I want to go big picture a little bit here because these games early in the season against two AFC North opponents, we get by the Cleveland Browns last week, and now when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens, you're talking about future playoff seeding. So to me, this game is a very big one. But the bigger picture, the AFC West, you've got the Raiders with an impressive 2-0 start. They knock off the Steelers today. As we speak, the Cowboys are driving for a game-winning field goal against the Chargers, but we know that they're going to be a very solid team down the stretch. And then you got the Denver Broncos. I don't know what to make of this. Their schedule stinks. They start off the season with the Giants and Jaguars. And, oh, by the way, they play the Jets next week. I don't know when we're going to learn much about the Denver Broncos. But, Rich, what we can't take away from this is that this division is no longer a walk through the park as it's been in the past.
No, it isn't. And what you saw last week in terms of so for defense, it was fundamentals were not sound. We overran the ball. We didn't get it. We got on the ground. We weren't good with our hands, our eyes. So there's little things we need to work on. And you're exactly right on this, Clint. Going forward, we're playing teams with such good athletes. Listen, this kid Herbert out there with the Chargers, he is lights out, man. They are going to bomb the ball, no question about it. Who's the new coordinator out? Didn't that guy Joe Lombardi come from New Orleans? I think so. You know he's going to put the ball down the field. He's going to get his opportunities to do it. So, and Derek Carr simply lights out on offense right now. And you really got to wonder about the Raiders. Last year, they would have lost that game in overtime. They would have lost the game. You know, the offsides on the 1 yard line, you're thinking, they're just going to implode right at that point. But they found a way to win. So teams do that. And then you talk about Denver. Listen, Bridgewater's a guy who's going to take care of the football. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes. If he can stay healthy, he'll keep you in the game. So I agree with you. I mean, we're going to have to get better in all aspects of our game going forward. If not, it will be a long walk. It'll be an ugly walk too.
Well, last week against the Browns, the Chiefs defense struggled until it came crunch time, but Baker Mayfield, 21 of 28 for 321 yards. Hunt and Chubb both averaged 5.5 yards per carry on the ground. Talk about, we just got the inactives here. No Tyrann Mathieu, no Frank Clark on the inactives. They will be playing against the Baltimore Ravens tonight. Talk about what those two are going to bring to this defense that they were really missing against the Cleveland Browns a week ago.
Well, I think Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, he's such good in just playing that center field position and eventually making the big play, coming away with the pick. He's a guy that has an uncanny football sense on where that quarterback's going with the ball. So, but give Cleveland credit. They did a lot of play action. They boot. They ran the ball well. The counter play, they destroyed us on. I don't know why at the end of the game they went 3 passing plays after we scored the big touchdown. I would have just kept running the football. We couldn't stop them. They were getting 5-6 yards at a chunk. So they were worried about Patrick, so they tried to play it that track meet. We got to score. They're scoring. We got to keep up. So, instead of trying to control the ball. So I think going forward here, guys, in tonight, it's so important that we see little things get better, because there are too many ugly little things that make a big problem for you. But at the end of the game, the one thing about you got to learn about these Chiefs, people say playing 60 minutes. Well, with the Chiefs, it's more than that. They will play 60 minutes, but they're going to find a way to make the big play. They find a way to somehow pull out the big play, and that's what you got to love about this team.
Well, as we speak, the Dallas Cowboys just kicked a game-winning field goal to knock off the Chargers there. So it is not to be for all four AFC West teams to get to 2-0 today, and that's okay because in the past you've seen the Chiefs come out to big starts, and the Raiders, Broncos, Chargers they limp out of the gate, and maybe this is good. Maybe this is something that the Chiefs need as a team to push them. We saw the Patriots for years coast through AFC East title after AFC East title, and Rich, I got to ask you. Is there, because we see this with Alabama football, the way that they dominate, the Chiefs haven't created some kind of a dynasty, but they played in 2 straight Super Bowls. It should have been 3. When we look at these games, the way that you came up in the Chiefs organization from 1983 to 1992, you saw what happened when the changing of the guard happened and Marty Schottenheimer came in here and the culture changed. Is it possible that Chiefs fans could get to the point of complacency where you just expect to win these games? And what's more is the NFL, there's nothing guaranteed, man. This is a tough road to hoe no matter who you are. And I think that there's a chance that complacency sets in. People just expect to win these games, don't they?
Clint, we still love you, even though that you went Cleveland last week. We still love you, buddy. We're going to allow you in here to the podcast, man.
Thank you.
On this one. No, I think the fans came alive at the end of the game when we had to. They saw the plays. We had to make those couple of plays at the end. Listen, we created, and really, to me, the couple of plays I thought that changed the game, that kind of gave us some momentum. Right at the end of the second quarter, how about when Chris Jones, he forced the holding, and then the next play, he got the sack. And they were going to go score. They were going to kick a field goal, which could have been the difference in the game. So we stopped them. So you saw something. You saw the spark. We started to carry over. Still some things have to do better on this. But no, these fans will never get complacent in Kansas City. Listen, we went through so much pain and suffering as a fan and as a player. We lost so many close games. Never had the amount of talent that this team has right now. These are players that are exceptional. To me, Patrick Mahomes simply is the Lawrence Taylor of quarterbacks. Everybody in the world's trying to find it. He's changing the whole game. So when you have somebody with that impact on the team in the game, you know it's going to be fun for a lot of years.
Yeah, and people keep trying to anoint their young quarterback, saying this is the next Patrick Mahomes. You see what this guy's doing, Joe Burrow today, a lot of people, and we still have high hopes for Joe. We like Joe, but today he had 3 straight throws that were 3 straight interceptions. Zach Wilson with the Jets, a lot of people liked his arm angles and off-platform throws. He had 4 interceptions today against the Patriots, so not so fast, my friend, on all this Patrick Mahomes comparison.
And, and let's give credit. What I liked about the game, guys, was the middle of the pocket. Now, the edges sometimes got a little soft. That's what I said. But the integrity of the middle of the pocket allows Patrick to step up and make a lot of those throws, or holding in the pocket that extra little bit of time, he can throw that quick sidearm pass and get things done. And as long as Patrick has got vision like that, you can't cover long enough. You can't have enough people on the field. He's going to find somebody. But I thought what I saw Patrick always stepping up in the pocket. Instead of trying to roll out so far from that defensive end and getting pushed back, he was able to step up and then move outside the pocket. So efficient on his part. But the guys up front, and listen, we had 2 rookies starting in the National Football League. Let's begin with, there were no bad snaps out there. There was only 1 most offsides penalty. That's not bad with 2 rookies in the offense line. Believe me, I spent some time as a rookie. I remember in some preseason games, and it got ugly sometimes. So I hats off to them. I thought those guys, as I said, the game got going better, and they improved as the game went on, and that's what you want to see.
We got a question here from our Facebook, is from Jen Daniels. Which Ravens receiver do the Chiefs need to be worried about? To me, guys, I'm a big fan of Hollywood Brown out of Oklahoma, coming in here. I think last week we saw Lamar Jackson at times look really poised, make good, accurate decisions, and Hollywood Brown is a downfield threat when Jackson's going through his progressions, using his footwork and setting and throwing. Hollywood Brown's a guy that, I'm really high on. Of course, you got the Sammy Watkins factor. It's after week 1. A game has happened. Sammy played in it, and he's going to try, Rich, just stay with me here. He's going to give it a go in week 2 again. 2 straight games for Sammy Watkins. Which receiver for the Ravens scares you the most, or is it tight end Mark Andrews?
Well, yeah, you have to begin. How did Mark Andrews not even get involved in that game against the Raiders? I was looking at
Right.
He was MIA. I mean, where's that going at? So Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, he didn't have any answers for that. So your number one receiver not involved. I got to agree with you. Sammy Watkins still can run that angle route across the field. He gets single coverage. He still got the burst. He still got the speed for how many injuries that he suffered. So that would be, to me, the guy to really worry about. But, I think the thing about Lamar Jackson is the key, just like last year. If you force him to have to go through a progression, your opportunity of getting a sack is there. He will make some plays, but it seems like in crunch time, that's where he still fails. And then he has the miscues. Last week, he had the fumble. So that's where I think we got to be defensively smart. This guy's going to try to get out and then use his flash. But if you can contain that, I think you force him to throw the ball, you're going to get your opportunities to get some turnovers.
I know the people in Baltimore, the fans in Baltimore, and just everyone in that organization, they're excited about Devin Duvernay and James Prochet, 2 young wide receivers that they have. But I think Mark Andrews is going to be the key in this game for the Ravens that the Chiefs defense is going to have to cover. With Willie Gay still out, Ben Neiman, Daniel Sorensen, they like to put them on the tight end in known passing down. So I think Mark Andrews could have a big day if they don't figure that out, how to cover him. Are they going to bracket him? What are they going to do to start Mark Andrews? Because I think he's going to be a bigger part of the Ravens game plan this week. But shifting to the Ravens on defense, Rich, we talked a little bit earlier about kind of having to multiply Marlon Humphrey in order to try and cover these Kansas City Chiefs weapons. Mainly Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. You can only put Marlon Humphrey on one of them. And with Marcus Peters being out for the season with the torn ACL, I think that lends to whoever Marlon Humphrey's not covering, you go to him. Whether it's Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce, that's going to be where you're going to look first, and that's going to be your first progression read.
Without a doubt. And if you saw that Cleveland defense, a lot of zone last week, and we simply tore it apart. I mean, they had no opportunity. I mean, you see Tyreek Hill, and I credit him. His route running in terms of recognizing that defense and how to break off, selling the deep route, but then turning it into a hitch route and creating separation. Kelsey's just simply amazing. The wiggle he has at the top of the route to be able to just get away from linebackers. He's fallen into that Michael Jordan classification now for tight end. So it is special. I don't know how you cover both. And again, as I said, I want to throw to my running backs. Folks, I mean, I saw Najee Harris from the Steelers today do a spectacular job on a little swing route for a touchdown. Our guy, Clyde Edwards, can do the same thing too. I like to get him involved, and I think you'll see some good things too.
Yeah, I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Rich, we loved him coming out of LSU. When it came down to it, it looked like maybe DeAndre Swift out of Georgia was another option for us. There he goes to the Lions. There's something about Clyde. I think that whenever you see a running back early in their career, you can see something. You see, you saw Kareem Hunt right out of the gate. It was an explosive playmaker. We have yet to see that from Clyde. Is it possible that he's more just a guy that can fit into any running back stable and, get his 700-800 yards a season? Or is there something more that we haven't seen yet from Clyde?
Well, we've got to give him some opportunities. And when you see what he did in terms of his first swing pass coming out of the backfield, making people miss, then you watch him in the hole. I mean, he has absolutely such good deception, good subtleness, nimbleness in terms of kicking up a couple extra yards. And we all know the running game takes some time. It isn't a thing you do one play and have a shine. It takes some time to develop and get it going. So I know one thing, that this offense for the Kansas City Chiefs, when we get any type of running game going and get wherever our tailback is involved, it just makes it more explosive because it forces those safeties to now have to account for the run. And when you have to do that, you then eyes cannot see. You cannot get to our wide receivers quick enough. It takes you one step forward to the line of scrimmage. That's all Tyreek Hill. He's going to get behind coverage, and they know that. So that's why I'm thinking get 25 involved in the game, and it really makes this offense that much more unstoppable.
Now, a question for you here. We kind of talked about this, but Todd asked, any worries about the Chiefs playing on the road with so many new offensive line players? Well, my answer is yes. Noah, where are you at here?
Yeah, it's going to take some time for them to gel. I know that's your favorite little cliche there, Clint, so I'm going to throw that out there again. And it's going to take time for that running game to get going. I think there is something there with Clyde. We saw him as a rookie week 1 against the Houston Texans. Everybody loved what he did there. It slowed down a little bit. We had that huge game rushing against the Buffalo Bills last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when this offensive line gets going and kind of learns what they're supposed to do, where they're supposed to be, how they're supposed to block, learn how Clyde likes to run the football, I think we're going to see everything go well with that run game. And I think we do have something in Clyde. And as far as that offensive line on the road, it is going to be difficult. We do have fans back. We've got Baltimore on a Sunday night. They're going to be pumped. They're looking for that win to get that bad taste out of their mouth against the loss that they just had to the Raiders. So I think there is something to that. We could be looking for some false start penalties here. So that's going to be something to watch. But Rich, you talked about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, getting him going. That leads us into our keys to success. So we're going to go to Rich's keys to success.
Well, why don't we just start with the Chiefs side of the ball? Because we've talked about, we've been saying, let's get Clyde. Let's get Clyde rolling now. We saw what we can do out of the backfield. I want to get him on linebacker Patrick Queen. I think he can abuse this guy. I think his shiftiness in the open field, it can't be stopped. He gets involved, it's just going to make everything else happen. Patrick for 500 tonight with no Marcus Peters. I think that's a very good possibility, guys. I think we're going to air the pigskin out. We've talked about this secondary and the issues for Baltimore, not with the pass rush. I think we can have a good night. Take it to the other side of the ball when the Ravens have it. Guys, we got to be better. Fundamentally sound is an NFL requirement. If you want to win football games, you got to step the right way. You can't over pursue. You can't miss tackles. You have to win in the trenches, proper pad level. All those things we failed too many times. And the last key, of course, I want no action from Mr. Jackson. Just can't get him involved. You know, with this pistol offense, they're going to try to run quarterback power, especially after the struggles we had last week with it. Look for that to try to get him on the edge quickly, get us out to maybe we got to put 8 men in the box. They can get their one-on-one with maybe Sammy Watkins on the outside, hit a couple big home run plays, and maybe dictate the flow of this game.
Well, Rich, I hate to tell you this, but Action Jackson is my 3rd favorite Carl Weathers movie. Don't know how it applies to you. Right behind Rocky III and of course, Happy Gilmore. But, guys, as we go into our predictions here, I want to take you guys back to 1999. I want to take you back to 2003 and 2004. How about 2015, 18, 19, and 20? The Kansas City Chiefs certainly have this program's number for whatever reason. We saw in Patrick Mahomes' first season, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens came here and took the Chiefs to overtime. And then we saw, of course, the next season here at Arrowhead again. Kansas City comes out on top. Lamar Jackson's completing balls thrown up in the air, Hail Marys, just to get them back in the game. And then last year, the Chiefs go on the road on Monday Night Football and take it to the Ravens, and they win by 2 scores. Guys, to me, this is a game about the Chiefs. If they play their game, if they do what Rich said, I think the Chiefs go and they win this game by 10 points. Noah, it's prediction time. I've got 34-24 Chiefs, so you guys got to get back on my good side and start caving to me and cowering to me right now.
I'll sidestep on that, Noah, and I'll let you take that one.
I've got 31-23 Chiefs. I think they're going to get it done tonight. One of my favorite Ravens-Chiefs memories is when Ray Lewis is on the sidelines talking to his coach, Mike Nolan. Just, it's not possible, coach. It's not possible.
2004.
I'm being blocked by 2 guys on every single play. Will Shields, Tony Richardson were in his grill every single play, and he just lost his mind and couldn't believe how they could have 2 guys blocking him on every play to where he had no say in any play that happened the entire game all night. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that. I think this offensive line gets after it. They got a week under their belts against a very good Cleveland Browns defense. I think they're going to come out. They're going to be able to run the football. They're going to be able to do whatever they want with only Marlon Humphrey out there, only able to cover one guy, Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill. So I like the Chiefs 31-23.
Sounds good to me, guys. I think I don't know if I can give Baltimore 23 points now. I think this offense, question marks, and I'm just going, as I said, this offensive line for Baltimore. Now, that would be a disaster. If we were there in Baltimore, I'd be waving the white flag on that one right now. And I think the Chiefs take advantage of this. I think Chris Jones has a monster night. I'm looking for 4 sacks out of number 95 tonight. I think they have no answer for him up front. I think the Chiefs are going to let them have. There's a lot of frustration that's going to come out at last night. So I'm going to give maybe Baltimore 14. With Patrick, I say he goes for 550, 600 passing. Let's give him 34 points in the game. I think this is ugly. The Ravens, for 3 years in a row, have not been able to handle Patrick. I don't see anything happening tonight.
Wow, strong words from Rich. Fantasy owners, you better get Patrick Mahomes inserted if your quarterback's playing tomorrow night or something. Get a last-minute substitution in. That sounds like a plan, man. This is tremendous. This is what the NFL is all about. This is what we look forward to, and this is what it's all about. We got fans back in these stadiums. They're raucous. The fans are ready for this. The fans in Baltimore are certainly going to be ready. We know there's going to be a lot of Chiefs Kingdom invading the Baltimore Inner Harbor area right there. So, guys, this is going to be tremendous. We're ready to rock and roll. Get your ribs out. Get your chicken on the grill, and get your cans of Kingdom Ale from Golden Road Brewing, and get this thing ready, Rich. We're ready to roll, buddy. This is going to be a great night.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, guys. Listen, I'm so happy to be able to still be involved with the Chiefs somehow, because I was on that field the day that Derek Thomas had 7 sacks and we couldn't come away with the win against Seattle. So that's what makes these guys special. They don't end up on the wrong side too many times here, and that's why I look tonight for another big night. They understand they've got to get better. The Honey Badger's back on the field, folks. You better put 2 chin straps on. He's bringing some energy tonight.
You heard it right there from our guy, Rich Baldinger. We all have the Chiefs winning a big Sunday night road matchup in Baltimore against Lamar Jackson. He still can't beat Patrick Mahomes. This has been Kingdom Kickoff, your Chiefs pregame show. Until next time, I'm Noah Gronniger alongside Clint Switzer, and our man, our former Kansas City Chiefs offensive lineman in the trenches. Every time he's there for you. He's got your back. Rich Baldinger.
Taping up.